you find yourself lost in Irvingland. John and Don are working to bring the ship into position so they can get into orbit around a certain planet. Meanwhile, Will is having trouble passing a history test, so he's confined to his cabin until he does. He's elated about the whole thing, as you can imagine.
I'm in Coventry. That's where I am. Coventry.
That does not compute.
In British slang, if you send someone to Coventry, you basically ostracize or shun them. Its origins are a little fuzzy, but you get the idea that whoever was sent first didn't have a very good time there. And the expression has been around at least since the 18th century, so Will may know more ancient history than he thinks he does. The robot says he can go to John and offer to tutor Will. He knows everything about history.
The first nuclear chain reaction produced beneath the stadium at the University of Chicago on December 2nd, 1942, under the direction of Arthur Compton and Enrico Fermi.
Robot? Not that kind of history. Ancient history.
I consider 1942 very ancient indeed.
And now here we are 20 years later, so it's even more ancient. But we're talking about the Phoenicians, the Romans, the Middle Ages in Europe, that kind of ancient history. The robot couldn't tell you anything about that stuff, but he says he can absorb it in under a minute by scanning Will's textbook.
No, Dad won't let you. He says I've got to learn it by myself. Thanks anyway.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I will submit the proposition to your father at once.
That was something I learned rather slowly, but it finally sank in somewhere around age 45, I think. Whatever the question, I may as well ask. I spent so many years in fear of asking some questions of people, asking for help with something, asking directions, asking someone's name for pity's sake. But at some point it started to hit me. What am I afraid of? What do I think will happen? They might say no and I don't get a bite of their sandwich. If I don't know them, I might get some funny looks. I'm in a big building worse than any maze ever designed by humans. Why am I afraid to ask someone where my destination is? What do I think will happen? What's the worst that can happen? They don't know either, and I have someone to commiserate with. Just ask. You want to ask that lady on a date? Just ask. What's the worst she can do? She might say no. It'll be a small hit to your ego, but nothing serious. And now you know it's time to channel your energies elsewhere. You like that car, but you're afraid you can't afford it? Just ask. It's better to know than not know and waste your time mooning over it when with one simple question you never know, you might own it. The worst they can do is say no. I haven't lost anything, and there's always a chance they'll say yes.
I have come with a proposition from your son.
Well, never mind the propositions. We're in orbit around that planet. Can you give us any information on it?
Affirmative.
All right.
But the proposition...
Forget it.
Of course, if they won't let you ask, that's a different matter. He reports that the atmosphere is methane and something else he can't identify, instantly fatal to humans. I suggest we leave and go find another planet. Nobody will ever explain why we're so dead set on orbiting this one.
John, look at that. Well, what is it?
Unidentified gas comprising 50% of the planet's atmosphere.
Is he saying half the planet's atmosphere just flew up here and enveloped the ship? Essentially, yes. He also says it's alive and it's evil. It seems to be made of pure malevolence. It's after the ship because it's looking for food, but as yet we don't know what it eats.
At least it can't get inside.
My computer systems are still working on the problem.
Well, it's all very academic.
That big claw is basically the prop department showing off because it never actually does anything beyond what you just saw. It won't even scare the Robinsons because it only appears when nobody's looking. So, as I said, prop department showing off. By the time they get unfrozen with no clue it just happened, the mist has gotten into the ship. You had to know it was going to just because Dawn said it couldn't. Once they're restored, they start preparing to break orbit and get out of there. They'll discover that they can't, something is holding them there. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that 8-foot-high hand may have something to do with it. Will is sulking in his cabin.
care very much how you feel.
What was that? Who is it?
And now it is in your power to do something about it.
That's the trouble with adjacent cabins. Sometimes it's hard to tell who the disembodied voice is talking to. It's talking to Will, but since Smith won't shut up and let it talk to Will, it's going to have a little fun with Motormouth. It says, "You're unhappy on this ship and don't like being bossed around," right?
All that can be changed. All you need do is wish for anything you want.
All I want is to be left alone. All I want is to be left alone.
Where am I?
That's a good start. The ship should run a lot more smoothly now.
You hate all of them, don't you? Tell me that you hate all of them.
No. No, I don't. Let me out of here. Oh, please. Let me out. Please.
Whether or not he hates them depends on how much money there is in it for him. Next morning, Maureen and Judy are working in the galley.
Hi. Oh, good morning. It's about time.
It certainly is. You were supposed to help with the breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do?
Well, first of all, I'd like you to take some coffee up to your father and to Don. And then would you please go and wake up Dr. Smith and ask him to come into the galley?
She says it's high time Dr. Smith started doing things around here. I cut that line because, yeah, like that'll ever happen. We'll spend a little time watching our three ladies work together. Yep, we'll spend a little time watching our two ladies work together. They're rightfully alarmed because there's no way Maureen could have exited the galley without them knowing it, and a quick search turns up nothing.
Dad, we can't find Mom.
What do you mean?
Well, we were in the galley together, and when I turned around, she was gone.
Maureen, are you in our cabin?
Dad, this is Judy. She's not there. I just looked.
As if he and Don don't have enough to think about. He tells Judy to come upstairs and help them.
Judy! I just gotta talk to someone. The funniest thing just happened.
Wake up Dr. Smith and tell him to get dressed at once. We can't find Mom.
What do you mean you can't find Mom?
I don't have time to explain now.
Judy? Judy, where are you?
John calls down to Will and says, "You and Dr. Smith search every inch of the ship down there and find the missing people." That includes searching the power core, which is a place nobody is ever supposed to go.
William, just a moment.
Where are you going?
You heard what Dad said. We're going to search the power core.
We, indeed. Nothing of the sort.
This is one time Will can't shame Smith into pushing past his fear of everything.
From the depths of Gehenna to the steps of the throne, he travels fastest who travels alone. Shakespeare.
It's Kipling.
Are you sure? Did you see it, Kipple? Will goes in alone. Needless to say, they're not in there, but it is an interesting place.
Mom? Judy?
And now we know why they keep having so much trouble with the power. Some idiot tried to graft a TARDIS onto the ship. While he's making his way back out, the robot has some news.
I have determined what this evil organism wants.
Oh, come on, tell us.
Fear. It is hungry for fear. It feeds on fear and hatred. Therefore, no one must be afraid.
Are you?
Affirmative.
And every time that mist appears, somebody vanishes. Penny is next.
Where am I? How did I get here? Penny? Mom! Mom, is that you? Mom! Oh.
Well, at least they're together and unharmed, even if this place is about as interesting as driving through Kansas.
If only we could get word to Dad or to Don.
But you can't.
What's that?
That's called a voice. Those sounds it's making are called words. I hope that helps.
You're frightened. Good. I can feel the terror growing, making me stronger and stronger.
Now they know what they have to do, but they won't make the connection right away. The robot says they're alive and unharmed, but as usual, Smith won't shut up and let it give any more information.
Whatever it is, it's coming from that planet.
What about my going down to the surface in the pod?
All right. But keep in constant communication.
Right.
And if the atmosphere proves to be lethal, abort the mission.
The robot already told you the atmosphere is methane and therefore lethal. So sad. I guess short-term memory really is the first thing to go. Don won't make it to the surface and has to come back.
John, I'm safely docked now. You can open the lock.
Go help Don out of the pod.
Yes, sir.
Now only 4 of us remain, counting me.
What are you talking about?
What do you think it means? They never really listen to him. Smith is next until it's just Will and his dad and the robot. They couldn't get the rights to Flight of the Bumblebee, so to get around copyright, they played it upside down. He finds Judy and the others, but nobody has any idea what to do next. You could start by making fun of that stereotype evil laugh.
This is creepy. Where's it coming from?
Right behind you, of course.
Then continue by making fun of the fact that the big bad is a guy in a sheet.
I'm scared.
That's not something you should do, Penny. Think about what you'd do if you were in a place you recognize and this happened. You'd go pull the sheet off him and try to make friends. I suggest you do that now.
Who are you?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
You talk like a child.
I am. But I'm growing. I'm getting bigger and bigger.
John has sorted out that one entity is behind all the things that are happening, including the disappearances and being stuck in orbit. Oh, and by the way, now they're being pulled down toward the surface. He's noticed that every time the mist appears, someone vanishes. Yet Smith seems to be gone and there was no mist, so he must be around here somewhere. Even so, John is going to take some precautions. It'll never be explained, but I think we're supposed to suss out that Smith already has a connection with the creature, and it can send him to the wherever world without the mist because he's already been there. Emphasis on, I think that's what's going on here.
I don't get it, Dad.
Haven't you ever seen mountain climbers in action before?
Oh, yeah, that's a real good idea.
Yes, from now on, every place we go on this ship, we go together. Now let's find Smith.
Only 3 left, including me.
Come on.
Translation, Smith is gone and you do well to stay here. But as I said, they never listen to him. John has an idea.
Before each person disappeared, they were in contact with a machine that had a built-in oscillator.
That's right. I didn't think of that.
Now, supposing we took one of those oscillators and reversed the polarity.
Well, that would make them appear.
Well, it's a long shot, son, but it just might work.
Which one do you want to reverse first?
Well, we'll try the one in the pod. It had the most power. Come on.
That's assuming he gets the chance to do that stuff because the mist is back.
Now, I'll go in the pod and reverse the polarity. We'll make this thing yet.
You should both go. You should do this together.
Dad? Dad? Dad?
Told you. Seconds later, the robot disappears. Will is alone.
All I want is to be left alone. That's me. I said that. Now they've done it. All I want is to be left alone. 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 No, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it.
Context is everything. He meant he didn't want to be stuck in his room and hassled about his studies. How is it possible some weird alien that probably doesn't speak our language wouldn't know that? In the mist, it tells Smith, I can use you. You're nice and hateful. Next thing Will knows, somebody is knocking at the airlock.
Dr. Smith. Oh, am I glad to see you. When did you get back?
Back? I've never been away. I was searching the airlock and I caught my foot in this ridiculous valve. Now, get me loose.
Yes, sir.
Be careful. Don't ask stupid questions. Just get me out.
That doesn't sound like Dr. Smith. And by the way, there's some kind of blue foam oozing from the walls.
Be careful of that stuff, Dr. Smith. It'll make you vanish.
How do you know that?
I don't know. I just do.
That's utter nonsense. I'll show you.
Aren't you afraid?
Of this stuff? Of course not.
He says, if it makes people disappear, why am I still here? Will's still working on that one.
Dad has a theory. A way to bring everyone back. I'm gonna try it.
His theory is useless. It won't work.
I didn't tell you about it.
I guessed. He wants you to reverse polarity on one of the oscillators, am I right? Well, am I right? I thought so.
He says, this thing's beaten us. All we can do is land on the planet. He's insistent, but Will says, I won't let you. Now he knows it's the alien. As evil as Dr. Smith is, even he draws the line at that.
Stop where you are!
The chase covers pretty much the whole ship. The robot is back just in time to verify that this isn't Dr. Smith, and then the imposter pulls his power pack. They never did get around to putting that thing in a less grabbable place. They end up in the power core, which you knew was going to happen. There had to be a reason they introduced us to that place. The thing says, this has been fun, but you disappoint me.
You are like them, and I don't want to play with you anymore. All I want is to be left alone.
I said that.
So did I.
But I said it first. You're just repeating my thoughts.
Who has a better right?
What does he mean by that?
I know who you are now.
You do? I don't. You're sure you do?
I'm certain, and I'm not afraid of you.
Not afraid of your own id?
My what?
Id! I-D! Id!
You can't scare me with your big words.
Id is a big word. Well, I think I know why you're failing some of your courses.
I am you!
You're me?
Yes, you! 40 years from now! I am your id! Where am I? Save me! Save me!
Since he's not afraid of it, it's getting hungry and weak. It loses its hold, and Dr. Smith is himself again.
Where did you come from?
You stripped off my disguise. I was using Dr. Smith as a front. At last, you see me as I really am.
Is he saying that sheet is his epidermis? We know what's going to happen, so let's get on with it.
I'm not afraid of you.
No! Get back!
I can't feel any fear now, and you can't face me, can you?
Let me alone! Don't come any closer! I'm growing weaker. Weaker! No! No!
Thank you. The ship was able to run at full power for 6 months just on his carcass. Everybody is back and the ship is free.
That frightful experience was much too harrowing for me, and now I must retire to my bed of pain for a much-needed and deserved rest.
I understand. I'm sorry, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, dear boy. You're very kind. And now leave me.
Will,
Yes, Mom?
ask Dr. Smith if he'd like a nice hot breakfast.
I don't think he feels up to it right now.
What?
As the expression goes, some creatures eat to live. Zachary Smith lives to eat.
If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.
For those who got offended by my crack about Kansas, let me offer my grandfather's assessment of driving through your lovely state. He said, Kansas is the most exciting state in the Union to drive through. You drive up to the top of a hill and see the next one. Drive up to the top of that hill and see the next one. Drive up to the top of that hill and see the next one. Drive up to the top of that hill and see the next one. Drive up to the top of that hill and see the next one. Drive up